Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my good friend, Randy Wilson, CEO and president of NEI Global Relocation. Hey, Randy, how's it going?
It's going great.
Hey,
Welcome
we're live.
to Omaha.
We're live in Omaha. I love it. I love the
Yeah.
hospitality. You guys always roll out for me here. It's amazing. The people are so nice. The food
Yeah.
is really good. And I always have a great time when I'm here in Omaha.
Well, we always enjoy hosting you. So welcome to Omaha.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be hosted. I'm always hosting something, and it's nice to be hosted for once. Thank you very much. Hey, get in the comments right now if you're watching us. Hit that like button. Get in there with comments. We're going to be talking about real estate trends, what's going on in the relocation world, international trends as well. You know, we've got Randy here with us. We're going to have Michelle Moore, the COO, as well as Lonn Kammeyer, the senior manager of strategic partnerships and supplier partnerships, coming on as well. So we got people checking in right now. Jonathan here from Texas. Howdy from Texas. What's up from my home state there? It's hot. You know, everybody here was like, oh, it's going to be a warm one today. I'm like, you ain't seen nothing. Come to Texas, buddy. Come on down. Okay. This ain't nothing here. Nan Park here joining us from USI Law in DC. What's up, Nan? How's it going? Put your questions in there as well. Hosea Botley from Aversal Global checking in here. Always love seeing Hosea and the crew at GPA coming up here. It's just around the corner.
It is. Yeah. It's not far away at all. Just a couple months.
Yeah, the GPA Summit's one of my favorite events all year. It makes for a very busy October, but I love coming for it.
I know. It seems to be the best time, though. It works for everybody. They're on the road anyway.
Yeah, it feels like a big family reunion, doesn't it?
It does.
And I love the fact that you bring all your account executives, you know, and all the folks that kind of do the work, you know, and everybody gets to meet everybody. And it's a lovely feeling.
That's why we do it in the great city of Omaha.
Love it.
So more can participate.
Well, and it's unique because doing it in Omaha, it's authentic to who y'all are, and the culture really comes through versus taking us to Florida or Vegas or something like that. You know, it's like it really brings it back. It's nice. Jack Silver checking in here. Jillian Guzda, what's up in Dallas? Detroit's in the house. People are giving Randy shout outs. This is awesome. Hey, Adrian, how you doing? Lucy, very cool. People are looking forward to the conversation. Hey, Farrell, how you doing? Get in there. If you got questions for Randy or Michelle or Lonn, we're going to be getting into it. Jill checking in from Minneapolis, Naperville, Illinois in the house. Hit that like button here. Randy, give us a kind of a state of the union. How are we doing in our industry this year? What's going on? What are you seeing?
Well, we could be doing better.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we're fabulous, but you guys could really be doing better out there.
As an industry in its whole, things could be a little bit better, but they're not horrible. They're not like 2020 when COVID first started out. But we're getting about the same amount of volume. The difference is really in, are we getting limited benefits or are we getting full service benefits? As you know, companies and people just try to come out of this economic time that we've been experiencing for the last 4 or more years. Yeah, the world really changed after COVID, or during COVID and after COVID. So we're still figuring out, I think, as an industry, just what does it look like? How can we really be the best, bring the best value to our clients?
Yeah, and it's a weird time because, you know, economic indicators say we're doing well. And then we look at our business and we're like, where's all the work? And where's all the revenue and profit and all the good stuff, right? That we do this for. So it's kind of a confusing time. And some industries are more impacted than others. And obviously we're exposed, you know, a lot to interest rates and to the real estate market. And how is that kind of impacted? And what are you seeing there from a trend standpoint?
Well, on the real estate market, there are a lot of things that have been happening in the real estate market, as all the realtors know, and those who support that particular piece of the industry. With the interest rates higher, it definitely has been slower in selling. Probably the biggest impact comes from employees deciding, should I sell my house?
Yeah.
Should I buy a new house? Nobody wants to trade 2.7 for 7.2.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough sell.
That it is. But that's probably put about another, for us, between 15 to 20% of employees on the sidelines, just trying to decide, Am I going to sell or am I going to buy? So there's business that's sitting on the sidelines. And we were hoping that we would experience those 2, maybe 3 interest rate cuts to help open it up. And now it's down to maybe 1.
Yeah.
So maybe 1.
They promised us 3 when we started. I mean, can we get that in writing from the Fed? I mean,
no
can they,
kidding.
can we hold them to that? Where's our 3 cuts that we were supposed to get, I was really looking forward to those cuts.
Yeah. So we're all of us. So we're all in the same boat there. But I do believe they will be coming. It's just a matter of still hanging on. And for those individuals, we're still seeing more starting to buy again when they have the inventory that's available. Inventory is still low. We don't see the price wars on homes anymore. So I can't say that they're really going down, at least not quickly anywhere. But they definitely seem to have stabilized in most markets.
Yeah. Those days of 30 to 50 offers on a house in certain markets just was insane. And then, of course, what people had to do to get the house and what they were waiving inspections, and they were just, it just seemed kind of
yeah.
That was so. I mean, so in some ways, it's normalizing, which is kind of nice.
Yes, it will help people get used to it. As we talked before, 7% still better than 18.
Yeah.
But it's just hard when you have those 2-3% loans out there.
I like what you mentioned before. Get in the comments here. I want to hear from you. What are you seeing in the real estate market? What are you seeing in interest rates? I saw something posted today, and shout out to Sherelle Kilgore posted this about the it's the 3rd straight week that mortgage interest rates have declined slightly. I mean, we're not throwing parties and we ain't getting the confetti ready yet. I mean, but it's declining a little bit to where they're in the high 6s. Still a departure from what we were used to a couple years ago, but that's encouraging.
Yes.
But you mentioned something about the 10 to 15%, maybe more of volume that's kind of sitting on the sidelines. I'm one of those people. I wanted to buy a house, a year ago, and I've kind of been sitting on the sidelines. I'm wondering, are we in another one of these pent up demand situations that we saw coming out of COVID, where there was no business and then it was crazy busy because all these people waited?
It won't be the same kind of crazy busy, because that was from clients that were pulling back on how many individuals they were moving. But I do believe that we will have that pent up demand is out there, and it's been out there for several years because inventory has been low for several years, and making it harder for first time homebuyers to get into the market.
So now that the inventory is starting to increase a little bit, which is helpful, right?
Helps.
Sherelle's getting in the comments. She's saying she believes the rates are nearly normal. What is normal these days?
Well, I can't speak for Sherelle, but I think what she may be referencing is the economists feel that 5.5% to 6% represents, I believe, a healthy market, a healthy economy. And if we are at 3% again, there's something really wrong somewhere. So we don't want that to happen to us again. And I believe that at least the economists and probably the Fed believes that if they're somewhere between that 5.5%, 6%, then those are good rates.
Those are good rates. We don't want them much lower. We don't want them much higher.
Right.
And if we kind of get some consistency around 5.5 to 6, then people won't be so concerned about relinquishing a 2.7, and it'll be a little more parity maybe.
Well, they might not want to get rid of it, but people will start adapting.
Yeah.
They will start adapting, because if by chance they go down, you can always refinance.
Right.
And a lot of the mortgage companies make it as easy as possible for those individuals to refinance.
What if people just don't sell their house? What if they just say, I'm going to keep this one and rent it. I'll move. I'll still take the relocation, right? I got to progress my career and such. I'll take the relocation. I'll buy a new house at destination. Maybe my employer will buy some of those points down for me to make it easier for me. Who knows? But I'm going to keep my house at origin, and I'm going to rent it out. Is that going to have an impact to overall inventory?
It will have some. It definitely will have some. For those who want to keep it and rent it out and live in an entirely different city, different state, different country,
Yeah.
The upkeep and the damage that can be done to your home can be challenging.
Yeah.
So good luck to those who want to do that. My brother does a lot of property management of his own single family homes, and I would never do it. I would just never do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Because, they don't always, not all of them care about the property as if they owned it. And some just can't help it. But yeah, it's a drain on your investment, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
We got people checking in here, and it's really interesting. Farrell saying not selling and renting is a huge trend. Rents are at a level that they can pay their mortgage and still profit. It's also interesting, and I've seen some of this around from some folks who are kind of more on the renter side of things, and they're saying it's cheaper to rent than to buy right now. I know that's true in my situation. I've got I'm leasing a home right now, and if I were to look at to buy that same home with similar interest rates, even if I put, say, the 20% down,
right,
with what the appraised value is and the taxes on that home, I'm still going to be paying probably another $1,000 more per month to buy that house than I would be to rent it. Now, I'm not getting any of that equity, so long term that may not be an advisable strategy, but from a cash flow standpoint, it's less expensive.
Well, right. And are you still buying? If you bought right now, the question, there are all kinds of questions. You said it's hard to know what's normal, what to count on. And so many home prices have gone up that you don't want to buy it if it's at its peak either.
Yep.
So it's something that you just really have to think about and make sure it fits the lifestyle that you want, and build that if you can build equity, but it might not be right now.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And Sherelle makes a good point too. People that are in those 2 to 3% rates have tons of equity in their home because they've seen a great appreciation in their property value. Yeah. So it's interesting. I wonder, do they sell and then use that cash to buy something else, or do they maybe take some equity out? I don't really know. But now we're talking about real estate, and we're talking about kind of the trends we're seeing from people, some hesitancy around buying and selling right now. And I do think there's some demand building, which I'm very hopeful for next year, because I think that demand's going to express in the marketplace, and we're going to be, super busy, and it's going to be great. But there's other stuff going on in the real estate world too. I don't know if you heard about any of this or not, but
which are you talking about?
Well, the NAR
Sure.
Ruling and things like that. Is this a big deal, little deal, or nothing at all for us? What's your interpretation?
Well, it certainly feels like it's a big deal. So far, what we're seeing, and none of it's been passed yet, right? We're still waiting for that to happen. But states are making moves to try to be compliant according to the NAR settlement offer. But I think with it, it's more about disclosure, and it feels like it's going to settle into what's normal, what we know as normal, 3% and 3%, or, it might be split a little bit differently. And that's what we're seeing right now. But a year from now, it could change still a little bit more. And it might be that the buyer is going to be paying more often. Right now, sellers are very open to still pay it, in our experience. But we have had at times when we have, the seller will only pay half of it, 1.5%. And then it's up to the company to decide if they want to pay for it or if they want to make the employee pay for it.
Yeah.
So those are the types of things that we're working with now. And we're just trying to find our way to what's normal with this new upcoming change.
Yeah, I was watching a NTRP in Dallas, and they had some really kind of big corporate programs on the panel talking about this and weighing in on it, because the big questions, is the corporation going to pay? And this corporation said, yeah, we understand that's just the cost of doing business. We're going to pay that, and we just understand that's just the the evolution. That's what's happening now. We're not going to impact the employee. I mean, because that's why our business exists, to eliminate employee friction and impact during a relocation, necessary relocation. Do you think that's going to be common? I mean, do you think employers are coming around to that and understanding that? Are they open-minded?
They're open-minded.
Yeah.
The ones that we've been speaking with, they do want to stay in that flexible mode right now, because if they have to pay it on the seller's side and on the buyer's, so the buyer's side for the selling of the home, the whole 6, and the 3 for the buyer, for the employee to buy, then they're increasing their costs probably by 4.5% to 5% by the time they gross it up.
Yeah. Wow.
So they have to really think about it. And if it would turn out that the sellers just don't pay the buyers anymore, then certainly the companies are going to be open to paying it on the other side, because it's not an increase. But nobody's wanting to make hard and fast decisions just yet.
Yeah, people don't usually make these decisions ahead of having to make the decision. Right. It's like, let me feel some pain. Let me feel it for a while. The question is, how long are they going to wait to feel it before they actually make a decision? And I think it might come down to, is it going to stop people from moving? If it's going to stop people from taking assignments that are critical to the business, that's when policies change.
Right.
And it's a question, if they are, and if they're a big renter population, maybe it's not such a big deal and they don't have to make any changes. But if it's a big homeowner population, as we hope it is, and as more senior executives are, then changes are going to have to be made. I mean, global mobility is about putting the right people in the right place, to do the right job. And it's important, if those people, which are the lifeblood of your organization, can't move freely, then you're not getting the transference of skill sets and all the readiness that you need as an organization.
On the flip side of that, we have a lot of companies that are in I would say, a pretty aggressive cost savings mode. So that's, that you really have to struggle a little bit to say, where is that line? Taking care of the employee, that's what every HR department wants. That's what every hiring manager wants. But then there's a bottom line that you have to contend with too for the company. And that's what they're really trying to balance right now. How much can we do for the price that we have in our budget?
Yeah. I'm really curious about this from your perspective, and I always love talking to you. And by the way, if you're watching this right now, get in the comments, hit that like button. I want to know what your thoughts are around changing policy types, around changing services, and what we can do as an industry to better serve our clients. If you've got questions, we've got a few more minutes with Randy before Michelle Moore comes, the COO here at NEI Global. So we've got a couple more questions here. Get them in the comments. But I'm curious what your thoughts are. You've seen these cycles come and go. You've seen these ebbs and flows of, buying down points, and then that goes away for, a while, and loss on sale assistance, and these things kind of ebb and flow and come, with cycles. But what are maybe some of your thoughts around what we can do as an industry to better serve our corporate client partners?
Well, what we're being expected to do is to find that right balance and to find opportunities for them to be more efficient. And we're really working towards, how can we help them be more efficient? What are the tools that we have that can still bring value and efficiencies to them so that they can save in other ways? Because that's a primary goal. Yeah. For every company. So I think it's important to help them in that particular area. But you're right, the circles all come, and we have to pull things out of our toolkit that were once used, and be careful. I have heard about some creative financing that some individuals are getting, and we want to be careful of that and make sure that we are counseling our employees on, or our transferring families on, what does that really mean? If you're paying interest only, what does that really mean? So we just have to be aware, because there are going to be lots of creative things that start popping up as people adjust to the higher interest rates. And we have to make sure that we're taking care of our customer and they don't get caught in a trap.
Yeah, that's really good counsel. And you know, I think that also illustrates the need to have a good thought partner in a
Mhm.
relocation management company who kind of has seen these cycles before and who has seen these kinds of creative solutions pop up and come and go and can kind of say, hey, you know, this sounds great, but here's the downstream effects of these things.
Right.
I was talking, actually, I had the pleasure of actually participating in your podcast, Relocation Leader,
Yeah.
yesterday. Thank you
And
for
thank you
having
for
me. It
that.
was fantastic. And I was talking with Zach and Philip. And one of the things that we talked about, you know, as they're kind of this up and coming generation, you know, of
Mhm.
leaders, right? And there's a lot of new folks sitting in that global mobility manager seat at corporations. There's been a lot of turnover over the last 3 or 4 years and changing and stuff going on. And there's a lot of folks that haven't seen these cycles,
Right.
and they don't know what to look for, and they don't know what to be aware of. And I think that's a huge opportunity, especially for a company like yours that's positioned that way.
Right. And, you know, we have those individuals that haven't experienced either,
Mhm.
but we have a good number of individuals that have. So we bring that into our training programs so that they know how to handle it. And we keep track. We have meetings once a month for some groups, once a week for others,
Yep.
just to make sure that they understand how to deal with the things that are out there today and how to counsel on them.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I could talk to you for a long time, and I hope we get a little bit chance after this to visit. But I want to make sure that we get to all of your leadership here. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to say I'm going to bid you adieu until GPA in
Okay.
October, and I will see you then. Thanks so much, Randy Wilson. Give her
Yeah.
a virtual round of applause in the comments here, and we're going to bring up Michelle Moore here, COO here at NEI Global. So
Thank you.
bid you adieu, Randy. Thanks so much. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, I really think this is really interesting. We're going through a neat time, and there's a lot of challenges to it. Hey, Michelle, how's it going? A lot of challenges, obviously, in the space, but those bring opportunities. And I want to talk to you a little bit, Michelle, about what you see some of those opportunities being as we look, especially, you know what I'm really enamored with besides Omaha?
What's that?
International as an opportunity. The relocation space has been very domestic for kind of a long time. I mean, we come out of real estate, we come out of moving, right? But I think there's a lot of opportunity on the international side.
There is. And international, it just sounds glamorous. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want to go to Tahiti or Bali and, you know, live and work and experience other countries? And I think that's where there's this great appeal. And in COVID, people plan their own assignments, whether the companies knew where they were going or not, because we were able to work in more mobile places. There was always that desire for people to know that to grow their career, they need to be international. They need to have experienced other cultures, working in other lands. So it does present a lot of opportunities because there's a lot of demand from employees wanting to take that international assignment.
Yeah. But it also presents compliance challenges, right?
It
So I can't just go to
does.
Bali with my laptop, sit on one of those neat canoes out there in the Pacific and float around and send Lonn emails all the time. Happy Friday, buddy. What's going on? You know, what happens if I decide to do that?
Well, Bali might be okay. There's some digital nomads
Okay,
places,
good.
but let's
Sweet.
say you decide to go to Australia and your company doesn't have
Australia.
tax nexus. They don't have anything that they are paying taxes in Australia, and you're doing some programming. You're creating product for that company that's virtual. Australia figures out what you're doing in their country, and all of a sudden your whole company is subject to taxes.
So
there.
explain this to me, because I'm always like skeptical, right? I'm always like, no way, they wouldn't do that. I'm a, you know, do it and then ask for forgiveness. And like, I didn't know. Can I get a first time? You know, sorry, my bad.
I don't know that those auditors will love it. A lot of countries and a lot of, even within the United States, a lot of states have figured out, hey, if you're working where those tax coffers are, they want you to be paying because that's where you're earning that income for your job. So there's been a lot of places upping their compliance because unfortunately, the expats or the employees are where, if they're out of compliance, those companies have deeper pockets than the individual. So the opportunity for them to get taxes to pay for their domestic employees is where it's at.
Well, if the state of Nebraska is watching, I am not working. Actually, this is not work. I do this for fun. Just letting you know. Thanks for the record.
You're good in Nebraska.
I'm good in
you
Nebraska.
have more than one day that you create.
I never went to
actually.
Iowa. No. So yeah. So this is interesting. So if I'm a mobility HR person, right, and it's my job to kind of know where people are, right, because what we saw is a lot of global mobility people got handed the job of being responsible for remote work policies as well, which I guess makes sense. We always say we want more responsibility, seat at the table, all this stuff, right? Right. We say that.
Careful what you wish
Careful
for.
what you wish for. Exactly. Are they really digging into this problem, or are they kind of just like, hey, we're just gonna turn a blind eye?
It probably depends upon the size of your program.
Okay.
I would say if it's one or two, they're going to say resources are slim, we'll take our chances. But if you start to have more than 20, 25 people in your program, you really do need to have, whether it's duty of care or your employees really raising their hand and being wanting to help partner with you as to where they're at, where do they want to work, can the company handle the compliance of that. Some countries, again, are very open to that and welcoming of people working within their borders, and it's not a problem. Other countries are like, wait a minute, you do need work permits. You do need those things to be in our country. And so we need to know more about that. And so if individuals can partner, employees partner with their company and their company's open to it, working together and collaborating is the best option, and understanding what can the company support, what's already there. And then employee, what is this going to do to you? Are you still going to have home and host tax consequences? And do you know that up front? So you're not surprised as to what comes up later or what your visa and immigration impacts will be.
Home and host. That means I'm paying taxes twice?
You could be, depending upon your country combinations. So you want to really make sure that you're working with the right professionals through your RMC to make sure with your company, whether it's in-house or through your RMC, to have that right support to really know what you're getting into. So you can plan appropriately, because there are some different ways to structure things.
Get in the comments right now. I want to hear from you. If you're watching this right now, hit that like button, chime in here. If you've got questions for Michelle, I've got a lot of questions about home and host. I don't like paying taxes once, much less twice. I mean, I do it. If you're watching U.S. government, I do it. It's a lot. So help me understand here a little bit. What should companies be looking for when they look for a partner that's going to keep them out of trouble?
They really want to look for someone who has that global reach, someone who is able to have the size that's right for them to cover all the geographic regions that they need for compliance, but yet also be the right fit so that they're not going to be lost as a really small fish in a big pond. And so we certainly help our clients with that. Who is the right partner for them based upon what their needs are, how they want to be involved, whether they have in-house tax resources that want to do a piece of it, but yet need that external firm to handle the actual filings locally or handle those different pieces. So we really help coordinate and connect everything together and then oversee it. We had a great opportunity for a client. As Randy mentioned, we're always looking for efficiencies for our clients. We had a client that has a sizable program and was always they wanted to do tax payments in-house over the years. Well, in the last year, with changes in staffing and labor, that was a struggle. We were able to pick up all of their tax payments that needed to go out around the globe, and huge tax or time savings for the company. And also when they looked at their labor savings, it was tremendous for them. So that's where we want to add value. What can we help them with? We were also then able to work directly with the tax partners. They knew exactly when the payments were made. They had everything they needed for payment confirmations from us, and all of that. Didn't even have to touch at the client to take up any of their time and labor. So
I love it.
We're looking at great opportunities like that to help our clients with any of those tasks that go along with that, because taxes people hear and it's usually daunting.
Yeah, taxes
Especially
is
the
scary.
newer people in their roles and mobility.
And you think about all the tax code in the US, which is a lot, and then you multiply that times all the countries where you have activities. I mean, that's a lot to think about.
We need our tax experts. They know they're actually going to, you working with a qualified tax partner is actually going to help save money with the right. They're going to know how to structure things with the tax treaties and using all the right secondment agreements and pieces. We help pull that all together, but really work with those experts that it's what they do every day.
So when you're doing this on a global scale, how important is it that you have your offices in EMEA and APAC to service those clients? I mean, is that important to them?
It is. We look at it as a time zone basis. People have questions. They need to get to who they're working for during their day and within that time period. So that's where we find and how we've divided up the globe to have people in offices who have their peers. They might work on a hybrid basis, but they have that office as that gathering point. Mm-hmm. We hire very social people who want to be working with employees and they're loving helping people go through their moves, but they also want their peers and they want to have those colleagues. So we've just found by having an actual office where the employees can group together in the trainings that Randy mentioned, and then we can also have the fun team building activities, having everyone together can make a difference. And so that helps support them. And then we're still covering the globe as needed.
You know, you talk about being in office, and I think it's really interesting to watch what's going on in the world of work and how people work and where they work, you know. Are you hearing from your clients that people are in office more now? I mean, is this a trend or where what are you hearing?
I think it's really settled. We hear different things about the return to work. And I think a lot of our clients are already settled in those hybrid roles. And we find a lot of the individuals that are our contacts in mobility, their jobs might have been remote to start before COVID even hit, and they're remaining remote today. Or since COVID, there's more going remote from that aspect. But maybe their employees in other roles, their executives are going back into the office. They're bringing back in some of their other functions back into the office.
Yeah, really, really interesting. And I want to ask you out there who are watching, what are you seeing? I got Brian Brooks checking in. He says, keep sharing knowledge. Hey, Brian from EE Ward. What's up? How you doing? George Meyer, hello from NYC. Amy, hi, Michelle from St. Louis.
Hi, Amy.
This is great. We got people checking in. Erica Burton checking in. Love Erica. Adrian Grimes saying, hey, Michelle. Hosea, hey, Michelle. Look, you got a lot of fans out there, Michelle.
Wow. I didn't know I had any fans.
Yeah, you know how popular you are? This is really great. This is
awesome.
Fantastic.
Thank you all.
Put your questions in there if you got any questions here for Michelle here. I want to talk about opportunities because we know that there's obvious headwinds right now, right? Interest rates, real estate, you know, all the things right there that are headwinds for the kind of traditional meat and potatoes relocation business. But what do you see as maybe the opportunities for growth? I always like to kind of take a positive spin and where can we add value nowadays?
I think really adding value is within that employee experience. But as Randy mentioned, we're faced with everyone wants employee experience. But right now, most of our clients are saying, but we need to cut costs. How can we cut costs? And so sometimes we hear they go to lump sums. We're really trying to advocate for their employees and for the CFOs out there. How do we meet together? And that's really where we have some products that will pull that together with our Core Flex programs. So we can really determine what the typical cost of that move is and those benefits. But then we kind of stack those if it's with the core, ensuring the client has the compliance that they need and what do they want to give to everyone for consistency, and then allowing the employee to select their part of the flex. And again, we have an iSelect program where individuals either gets points or dollar values that can be applied to applicable benefits. So it's like a tailored relocation employee for each employee, trying to meet the need of what they want. And so that can really help with that employee experience. but yet then to make all of the financial people happy, they know what that is going to be, how that's going to be maxed out, or how that budget amounts will fall
Right.
into place to kind of help balance both sides.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you kind of created a product around Core Flex, because Core Flex is becoming a, well, I mean, gosh, we've been talking about it for a while, but it finally feels like it's arrived as kind of a standard MO, and it's neat to see that y'all have kind of created a product around that. And this
Absolutely. There's nothing better than getting to pick your own relocation package.
Yeah.
What's important to you or your family or your specific needs.
Now, how crazy can I get with what I get with my package, right? If it, you know, can I cash it out, all of it, or is there a standard? Is there a you know,
there's a few
some
clients
guidelines
that have allowed to cash it all out. There's a few other clients that have said no. With the core, they really can't turn down, especially on international, the immigration or the tax piece.
Right.
But the other services are more what they need. And again, some opportunities for cashing out components, but others where the service is needed, really kind of helping lend some support.
Yeah. And if the service is a risk to the business, I mean, immigration is a compliance thing that affects not only the employee, but it affects
they're going to come after the company as well for that work.
Yeah. So that's a non-negotiable.
Correct.
For sure. We've got some people checking in here. Brian Wilson checking in from Chicago. This is great. Farrell checking in. I'll read yours in a minute. Bill Larson has a comment. He says, I see Core Flex as a great way to address DE&I concerns also.
Absolutely, Bill. Because again, the employee can tailor that package to the needs that are specific to them, which can be different than their colleague that's moving as well. Same location to and from, but the needs can be diversely different. And this allows not only NEI to really help them tailor, but the employee to feel like, hey, the company really gave me the flexibility to determine what I need. And so it really does help meet a lot of those objectives. That we have a U allowance that some of our clients.
What's a U allowance? I want an allowance. It's been too many years.
Clients have used it in different ways. Some have said, okay, if you have some particular needs that aren't typically covered, if it meets certain criteria, maybe you have a mother-in-law that stays with you. And so she really needs to be a part of the home finding trip. Maybe their U allowance can go for covering that. So it's not an exception. It's something that's just unique to their family situation, and that's what they needed. There might be other situations where they're finding that they couldn't kennel their pets, and their pets are very important to them, and they don't have children, but they're not doing kind of trade a benefit for something else. So allowing the pets to be kenneled in a place that is acceptable to them, or helping with the pet transportation if there's not a separate pet transport business.
Yeah. No, I love that, because you hear about people say, oh, my pets are my kids, right? So if people have no kids, you have people who have their pets are their kids, you know, married, they're single. You have so many different permutations of people's family. I mean, gosh, I mean, think about all the people that are from cultures where 3 generations live in a home.
Absolutely.
And that wasn't cared for a long time in policies
it was
in
like,
the US.
You know, that's a personal thing. Now they're realizing that is part of that employee's family dynamic, and that's part of their mental health, and that's how their family is organized, and it helps things work for the employees. So that recognition of lives look very different, we're seeing a lot more flexibility in those areas, and we're able to handle it with some of these other programs and products that we offer, so that each employee can tailor that how they need. And we work with the company with how much flexibility do they offer for what you can qualify into a U allowance. And then the company, again, is able to manage and work with whatever budget they want to set with that. And we're able to help them with costs and recommendations. It doesn't take a lot sometimes to make people very happy with a U allowance, whether it's $1,000, it can be a lower amount.
I would
and then
take
help work on-
$500 if you want to just give me a U allowance and just run a pilot for me. I'll try it out and I'll let you know how it
We'll be
goes.
happy to talk
yeah.
with the people at Glomo to
Yes,
make that work.
Thank you. My employer is very, very much in cost cutting mode these days. No, all kidding aside, we got some really great comments coming in here. Ritu here from DC. Look at that. She's coming in here, says great way. Oh gosh, I'm trying to read. I can't read. I'm getting old. She says great way for employees to feel empowered and partner in the transaction.
Absolutely.
The U allowance is a great takeaway. What's up, Ritu from Henry Jackson Foundation? Good to see you here. I partner with Ritu for an immigration symposium up in the DC area, and she does a fantastic job up there with that. We got another comment coming in. Get these comments in here. We got Lonn Kammeyer coming up next here. Everybody loves Lonn. Let's see here. Farrell says executives set the tone for the back to office. Oh, she's talking about the return to office. They want their employees there. Coming back to the office is gaining traction. That's got to be music to your ears. I mean, we're in the business of getting people to a workplace, aren't we?
Absolutely. And again, that might look different. It might be still 3 days of hybrid, or maybe even it's fully remote, but you're within the distance of an office, that if there is a special meeting, if you have prospective clients coming in, you're able to be there in person and meet them and kind of have that synergy that comes from everyone being in the same room. I think sometimes we all get that Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
And then the re-energizing that comes from everyone gathering around the table the few minutes before the meeting, or just being able to, when you have that break, you chat about those personal things, what's important to their family, what are they going to do on the weekend. That sometimes with Zoom, it's like you click off or you're multitasking, hitting those other emails, and it's not the same level of engagement. And I do think that's where having the opportunity to still be in the live meetings is still helpful and helps really build those relationships that will carry you through a lot of the Zoom meetings.
100%. You know, it's so funny you said the Zoom fatigue, because what I've noticed in our office is after we get off a Zoom call, first thing we do is like, okay. Then we walk out and then we walk into somebody else's office like, yeah, how you doing? Because I just had a call, whatever. And it's funny because the one thing that takes energy away, talking into a camera, looking at your own face, being like, I don't want to look, you relieve that stress by going into someone's office and just blowing off some steam and just chatting.
Absolutely. We have employees that are eligible for hybrid that have personally chosen not to use the hybrid because they feel that connection they have within the office. They like being near their coworkers. They like when they get off the call, being able to check in with a coworker, or just even hearing how other coworkers are addressing things. They live kind of vicariously, like, oh, I've never had that situation come up, but I just heard you talk about it. And it's a little bit different than getting it in a training. They can kind of see and hear it live as it's coming together. And that's important for a lot of our account executives and how they work.
I'm really curious, you bring up a really good point about they may not need you in office 5 days a week, but they may need you near the office for key meetings, etc. How likely do you think a company would be to relocate somebody who, when they have a scheme of maybe being in office 2 days a week versus 3 or 5? It's like, is there a breaking point where it's like at a certain amount of days in office, I'm going to need you in the metro?
It really probably comes down to, and this is terrible, I'm going back to that tax compliance, because if they live further out, they may live in across the state border that company doesn't have nexus in. So a lot of our clients are looking not necessarily about the days that they need someone, but where they're looking at is where you're working. Do we have the appropriate nexus? And most of them are safe if they're working within a reasonable distance from the office, because the office is there. There's already the payroll, the found property, and everything that needs to come together from the tax nexuses is all compliant. So we've had companies move people that they can move within X number of miles within an office. even
Yeah.
if they don't have to go into that office, just so the company knows they're covered from a compliance aspect.
Oh,
So we see
interesting.
that sometimes driving more of the need to move from the compliance side versus the number of days to be remote or
Wow.
hybrid.
That's really
So-
interesting. Yeah, I don't think employees realize it. And getting the comments here, I'm really curious what you're seeing out there. But I don't think employees realize how much it's impacting their employer when they make these decisions.
I
And
don't think it is.
that there's
You know,
a
if
tax
they're not
implication.
on the tax and finance and
Yeah.
compliance side, it doesn't cross their minds. And so that's why HR, payroll, everyone's starting to really work together and make sure they're in partnership with the tax, and everyone's raising their hand to say, hey, are we compliant in all these areas? So there's no surprises. We had a client that during COVID, one of their employees moved into another country because they met someone online and thought, you know what? It happens. They were working
Was
their
it Love and
schedule.
Reload? Did they meet in the comments?
He was working the appropriate hours. No one really knew until something flagged up on a security IP something. And for what that individual was doing, the country that it was in, they had to disconnect his computer access at that moment and then give a call and say, whoa, how did you get there? And we need to have you not work until you can get to one of these other countries, because this is not a compliant situation.
Wow.
So it's serious.
So what
and
happened? Did
significant.
he end up getting, marrying the person and then bringing them back? I mean, it seems like a lot. Now all of a sudden I'm faced with like my job or my newfound internet love. What's gonna happen next?
We didn't get the next chapter.
Stay tuned for the next chapter. And this is really interesting. It poses a lot of challenges, and I think we're getting to a point now, because we've been talking about this stuff enough where people can't really claim ignorance, like, oh, I didn't know I had to keep track. But then we still see the occasional CEO out there, and I'm CEO, and we're crazy. Sometimes we're not thinking. Go out there and say, hey, come work over here. You can work from anywhere. And you're like, yo, have you cleared that with anybody yet?
Then you see the CFO running behind saying, there's an asterisk on that.
Yeah.
Work from
These countries, these
anywhere
states,
that we have nexus, or these countries are on the list.
Yeah.
We didn't really mean
anywhere.
There's always a caveat.
Stan Baker chiming in here says, Newell Brands here in Atlanta just signed a lease to occupy 180,000 square feet of office space. The plan is more employees back in the office. Really interesting. It kind of runs contrary to some of the narrative that we hear about these offices aren't occupied, and these ghost towns and stuff like that are happening. It just feels like a little bit kind of we're in one of those reconfiguration periods.
Yeah. And I think it really depends upon the company cultures. Some are making changes just to make sure that everyone's coming together and having those collaborative spaces where people need to meet. Others are still in the mode of downsizing a little bit because they're finding they have too much office space for the number of remote employees they have. So I think there's still a lot of change going on, and it really hasn't shook out. And I don't think we'll ever get back to a one size fits all.
Yeah.
I think there'll continue to be a lot of flexibility needed.
Yeah, I mean, it was trending like that prior to the pandemic. I mean, it was trending to the point where I think there was something like 10 or 20% of people were remote workers even prior, to it. And I think that number won't go back to that as a baseline. But I do think it's going to continue to trend in the near future back towards, a return to office. Because I think that people are seeing, and especially in challenging times where you kind of have to circle the wagons, everyone, let's get around the table, let's figure out these problems. And I think also the last thing about that was watching a speaker talk about this, and they were saying, since we're such a speed obsessed society right now, and speed is service, I believe, that how fast can you get an answer for something, how fast can you produce something? There's nothing faster than just sitting with someone and sharing ideas.
Absolutely.
The old-fashioned way.
Absolutely. So whether that's still picking up the phone, there's still that level that's a little bit different than what you can type out, even in a chat back and forth. So we're still encouraging with our employees, no matter where they're located, you know, if you need to pick up the phone, our phones automatically, when we call another employee, they automatically go on camera. So it's like we're talking right across our desks with each other.
Yeah, I love it.
And able to collaborate quickly.
This is awesome. Michelle, we've got Lonn Kammeyer. He's been patiently waiting over there. Okay. Lonn, you know, I know, man, you're chomping at the bit here. I'm going to ask you just to hang tight for one more second. Michelle, you know, you've brought up a lot. You know, I know you're always thinking about so many different things. Maybe what's one thing maybe we should be thinking about kind of as we kind of go into the second half of this year, and what's something maybe just leave us with a final thought maybe.
Oh gosh, Ben. So many come to mind, but I think it's really how can we continue to provide the service that our clients need, and how does that benefit their employee? We're really working to benefit our clients and their employees in ways, and I think I think it looks different than what it looked before, and hence where we're talking about changing programs and different things. So I think we're just all staying open to that, and how do we make our clients' lives easier?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Jack Jampel says, hi, everyone.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack. Terry Palmer says, thank you, Michelle. So insightful. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Good to see you there. All right. Thanks so much, Michelle. It's good to see you. And I will see you at GPA in October.
Thanks, Ben.
Awesome. Thank you. Jamie Master checking in. Cheers from sunny Mississippi. Jamie, it's good to see you. Come on down, Lonn. Got people checking in here left and right. We got Lonn Kammeyer here, senior manager, supplier partnerships here. So good to see you, buddy.
Great to see you, Ben.
You
How you doing?
Good.
I'd be remiss not to say happy Friday, as
Hey.
my supplier partners know me well from, and appreciate the shout out of that earlier.
Always a happy Friday with Lonn Kammeyer here. Love that about you. You know, you always bring such a positivity, and you know, even reading that, you know, just always brightens my day. It makes me smile. You know, I mean, where does that positive attitude come from? I love it about you.
Well, you know, you got to come to work, you know, with a positive attitude if you're going to enjoy it. You know, why would you come to work with, you know, sad and lonely and not wanting to do something else?
That's
so
I stay at home people, you know, don't bring that in the office.
Yeah, we got to bring it to the office for sure. But I think it's just something fun to, you know, just remind people that, you know, it is work, but there's other things that we can enjoy about it. Hey, it's Friday. We got the weekend ahead of us. Let's, you know, end it on a positive note.
Shelby's checking in. Friday.
Right.
She knows what it is. Terry Palmer knows what it is. Everybody's checking in. Loves Lonn. Hey, Lonn. That's Amy. Look
Nice,
at this.
Amy. What's up? I heard my guy Brian Wilson from Chicago check in earlier. So
oh, yeah.
He showed me a Friday good time.
Did he? Nice.
Recently as well. So
love that. Look at that. Hosea Botley checking in from Seattle. Francine Dresty checking in here. This is great. Jack Silver, let's go, Lonn.
Yeah, Jack.
Sherelle, Lonn, my buddy. That's my Sherelle impression. I'm sorry, Sherelle. Lucy Teresa checking in here. This is great. If you got questions for Lonn, we're going to be talking about supplier stuff. We're going to be talking about new initiatives. You know, I know a lot of folks love Lonn, you know, out there. So Lonn's like Mr. Popular here, you know.
Yeah, do what I can. You know, we got a lot of great partners that provide a lot of great service, and we have fun with it.
Yeah, for sure. Zan Jones checking in here.
Zan.
This is awesome here. Lon's a man. He's got his own fan club. Jonathan Johnson checking in here. It's great. Let's talk a little bit about maybe supplier stuff, supplier initiatives. Yeah. What do you got cooking this year?
Well, this year we're working on a new thing called our service partner matrix, and a lot of our service partners have already had some insight into this through our business reviews. We've gotten a lot of great feedback over the years with our service partner scorecards, which gives them a lot of great insight both from the transferee side and from the account executive and from the service partner relations side as well. But this new service partner matrix is something where we're kind of getting a holistic view from the entire company and looking at the level of partnership on a lot of different factors. Yeah. Responsiveness, quality service delivery, eagerness to collaborate on solutions. And we've really seen some partners step up that have really taken note of this. And do
I get points for like doing podcasts and stuff coming out
For sure.
Okay. I have
Yep.
eagerness
You're
to
up there.
collaborate.
Oh yeah.
Check that, Shelby. Check that off.
Yep. Let's get that incentive bonus program
Yes,
going on there
let's
too.
go.
Maximize some revenue. And also our co-branded marketing is another thing that we're looking at as well. So again, looking to get deeper with some of our great partners. And, you know, there's a lot of them out there, and we love them all. But, you know, in this more competitive environment, we need to, you know, really see who is the best partners for NEI.
I like that you're saying that. It makes a lot of sense. I tell my team all the time that the biggest compliment somebody can give you is to give you, well, to trust you with their business. And you know, it's one thing if your clients say, "Oh, you did a great job, but I went another direction," or "Y'all were so nice," but you know, but it's when they say, "And I'm going to give you this contract," or "And I'm going to trust you with this piece of work." That's the biggest. And then when they come back and they do it again, and it seems like when you're looking at your partnerships, you're taking stock not only of the service that they provide and how they treat your internal customers, but how willing are they to partner with you on external opportunities.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just engagement with our sales team has been something that's been really refreshing this year, and something we really appreciate from our partners, and stepping up and engaging with Pam, Jack, Nick, and Jenny and Philip on the sales team to, you know, it's extremely competitive environment out there, and to, you know, partner on those solutions and, you know, get our foot in the door, show them the great relocation experience NEI can provide. It's wonderful. And one other thing I'd love to touch on is just the fact of, you know, I have a newer team. You know, we lost one of our most tenured people, Rob, earlier this year, and he helped build a great foundation for the department. But with the newer team, you know, you lose 20 years of experience, you know, that you're not going to fill that in overnight.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of great partners that have done a wonderful job of connecting with Shelby, with Chris, with Nina, with Rachel, and just helping them to learn more about the industry, learn about those spaces. And we really take a lot of credence in that, and look to them as, you know, leaders in our space.
Well, I've had the opportunity to talk to Shelby, and shout out to Shelby. I see her out there on the pod here. Hit that like button. But Shelby's awesome. Really like Shelby. She's great. Love the way that she approaches the conversation, just, you know, looking to learn, looking to absorb, having an open mind. You know, I think that's really cool. I mean, you know, as you're, you know, you've been here about 9 years, I think, right?
Celebrated 9 years last week.
But there's, you know, NEI is a company with a rich tradition, a rich history, a rich legacy, a pioneer in this space. The largest woman-owned relocation management company in the world. I believe that to be true. I say stuff on here. I don't know if anybody can fact check that or not. I don't know, but I think that's a safe claim to make. Yeah, I think so, right? You know, but as you're kind of one of the younger leaders here, you know, and as you're kind of up and coming and bringing your own kind of strategy and vision to the table, you know, what are some of the things you'd like to look to the future to try to accomplish?
So it's really an exciting time to be like a young leader at NEI. You know, we've built a really great foundation with a lot of the leaders that we've had here over the years, and we've definitely had some significant retirements. You know, Al, Mitch, Deb, Greg, Keith recently, and of course Rob. But, you know, with that, it allows us to also have a new, fresh perspective on things. And, you know, they build a great foundation for us. And we're just looking to build off that with new technology enhancements, maybe more personalized partnership levels, you know, working again from the sales standpoint, just looking to maybe more modernize some of the things that we do. We've probably been looked at as maybe a little traditional per se. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a traditional guy in a lot of respects, but, you know, we have to continue to look at new ways to do business and engage clients and partners, you know, where they want to be met on.
Well, yeah. And there's some traditional things that never go out of style, right? Trust, integrity, high quality of work, service, you know, I mean, the own it values that y'all talk about, right? 100%. That stuff never goes out of style. It's always going to be, in fact, it's almost more important now today than it's ever been, because you get a lot of, you know, it's so funny. I've seen more and more short-term thinking, shortcut thinking, how do I get from here to here really fast?
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said for building in a smart, prudent, consistent, steady kind of way.
Yep. And that's always been NEI's philosophy, is smart, safe, and just, measured. Like,
Yeah.
we don't want to get over our skis. We want to continue to provide that world-class relocation experience, but also just, push forward in what we do best here.
Yeah, really cool. I know we're already at our hour, but if you're okay with it out there, I want to keep Lonn for like 5 more minutes. I've told him to clear his calendar because we're gonna do a 3-hour telethon. I'm just kidding. But I want to ask this one question because I know it's what our supplier partners out there and folks out there in the community want to know is, how can a supplier partner stand apart? One of the things I hear our buddy Jack all the time, right? Back, he used to tell me this all the time when I was in the moving side, right? He's like, you're all the same, like, so you got a blue truck, you got a yellow truck, you got a green truck, it's all the same. I don't care. There's a lot of sameness out there. How can a supplier partner really set themselves apart?
One of the ways they can do it, and I mentioned it earlier, is just their engagement with my team and being willing to take the time to impart their knowledge and experience in the industry, as well as that looking at ways to, when there's a service recovery situation, let's look at it not from your own vantage point, but from the client standpoint. Let's take care of the client and let's worry about it after the fact. I think of with all the great partners that we have, and appreciate everyone tuning in today. They understand, like, we're not going to leave you. We're not going to hang you out to dry. If you come with a solutions oriented solution, we're going to work with you,
Yep.
and we're going to back you up in that sense.
Yeah,
well.
that's good partnership. I think we all appreciate that. We've all, as service providers, been in a situation where stuff goes, suboptimally. Or I'm sure that never happens, here with your team, but generally speaking,
Yeah.
it's happened, right? It's summertime,
Right.
Stuff happens.
It always does.
But it's, as much as it's good for you to find a service partner who is going to partner with you on that solution, it's really nice as a provider, as a partner, to know that the RMC has your back too,
Right.
and that you're in it together.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we feel like we get the finger pointed at us, and it's like all the blame's us, and so, well, we're gonna fire them, and they're never gonna work in this town again. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. We're like, hey, it's one move in June. Like, give me a break.
Yeah. Well, one thing I try to tell my team all the time is, like, before we point the finger, let's point the thumb, and let's think about how, did we put ourselves in this situation? Let's not point at the partner, like, you did this, it's your fault. Like, there's usually some culpability on our side as well. And looking at, that from my perspective, I have to look at it from like 5 different ways. I have to look at it from from the NEI side, the client side, transferee side, our operations team that's working with those transferees every day, and then also the partners. Like, I have to maintain a great, relationship with those partners and make sure that they feel comfortable, continuing to provide services for us and not feel like they're going to be left out on an island. And I really hope that I've done, I really hope the partners feel that it truly is a partnership here. I know that's a word that's thrown around a lot, but it's something that we truly value, and we, don't use it lightly. Yeah.
Well, I can say, for myself, from where I sit, you've always been willing to have a conversation. You've always been willing to entertain an idea.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way, because I know you're busy. I know a lot of folks are trying to, talk to you about stuff.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're always available and accessible. And that's really cool.
Yeah, no. And it's, hey, I'm a lifelong learner. I want to know everything that's out there. People that know me probably call me a know-it-all too, but I want to know it all, because that way I can, provide the best, options, solutions, and in the job that I do. So, it's something I try to live by, and,
I like it.
Tell my team to, learn from that as well.
Yeah, very cool. Get in the comments here, hit that like button. Let's give Lonn a virtual round of applause here. Hosea Botley saying thanks for the opportunity and the partnership.
Thank you, Jose, for doing some great work for us.
Yeah, I love Jose out there. Everybody's piling onto the Shelby bandwagon over here. Everybody's saying how great it is to work with Shelby. Amy's saying, Lonn, you have always put yourself in the supplier position, which is invaluable.
Thank you, Amy.
Look at this. Great.
I've
John.
talked to Amy for a while.
Well,
Get
here
on
she
the call
is.
here.
Yeah. John saying, John Cooper. Is it Cooper?
Oh, okay.
He says Lonn's favorite football team is the Iowa Hawkeyes. Pass it on.
Oh, he's
Is that
so
fake
wrong.
news? Is that not real?
That is so fake, and John knows it. He's one of our IT folks, and this will give me, I think we were going to shove an Iowa State question in here. As your resident Iowa State Cyclone fanatic, I do have to let him know the Iowa State Cyclones are my favorite team.
Go Clones.
Yep. We'll see you on the football field this year and both basketball courts.
So
John.
I didn't realize that Brock Purdy was an Iowa State quarterback.
Yeah, best quarterback in Iowa State history.
Yeah, and now he's killing it for the Niners.
Oh yeah, it was so close, but it's hard to beat greatness. As a Patriots fan, as a Tom Brady, I have a son named Brady. I do have to give Patrick Mahomes his credit for that. Like he dragged them to victory in that. But Brock's going to continue to do big things with the Niners.
So how does it work here in Nebraska, right? So there's not a pro team here or in Iowa. So do you get to go out and pick like the best one and root for them? Like you mentioned the Patriots. Like,
yeah.
You just pick like whoever's in the Super Bowl. You're like, that's my squad. Like, how does it work?
Oh, come on now. I'm going to test some fanhood here. Well, I would say, I'm not from Nebraska. Full disclosure. East Waterloo, Iowa. Shout out to them. And it's definitely a Husker state. They love their Nebraska Cornhuskers, and then they love their Creighton Blue Jays. But it's more of a regional thing. I have a weird journey to fandom from that.
Okay.
Grew up a Cubs fan, and my dad wasn't really a football fan. Started watching college football the year Drew Bledsoe was at Washington State. Patriots drafted him.
Go Cougs.
That was going to be my team. So, yeah.
Well, he also Drew Bledsoe also played for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he did.
You should strongly consider that.
Yeah. Well, he's that was towards the end of his career, but
well, Brady was the end of his career, but yeah, I mean, totally
true.
Drew Bledsoe,
very true.
Got a good sense of humor about it too. Jamie Massler, Penn State in the house. Oh gosh, Francine Dresty, Ben. There's another team that Lonn supports, and it's not the Cowboys. Yeah, thank you, Francine. Always so lovely. I always say Francine Dresty is the nicest Philadelphia Eagle fan you'll ever meet. Yeah.
Man, I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, I think she's a Cowboys fan that got like amnesia, woke up one day and someone gave her some like bad advice and said, hey, you're actually an Eagles fan. I don't know. That's how I see it playing out in my head. Non Park from USI Law. What's up, Non? Says go Commanders. I think we can all agree that's not true.
Okay. Yeah. Good luck. I can't say much.
I will say this.
Right behind you in the draft. So.
Yeah, they had a great draft, and I think they're going to have a great year this year. It pains me to say that. And I got to give a shout out to USI Law because you guys host a great party. They got a great suite actually at FedEx Field.
Nice.
Is it FedEx Field anymore? I don't know. Whoever wants to put their name on it, but they got a great suite there. It's right next to the visiting owner's box. So I went for the Commanders Cowboys game.
Oh, nice.
And I'm literally next to Jerry Jones's box. So there's video, and I don't think anybody can find it because I made it that way. But of me banging on the Jerry, let's go, Jerry. After one of the numerous touchdowns and me. Yeah, me and June Jones, and there was just a lot of chemistry going on. But
nice.
Yeah, so if you ever get a chance to check out a Commanders game from the USI Law box, highly recommend it. Your Patriots might be coming to town one day. Who knows? I think there's actually going to be a game before ERC. Yeah, they're hosting a game before ERC, so there's going to be a couple tickets floating around for that.
Nice.
Ritu says, I'm always your Cowboys buddy. Thank you, Ritu. Appreciate you. Zan Jones, gig 'em. Oh, this is going off the rails now because now we got Aggies in the house.
Yeah, they're ready for the CWS this
They
weekend.
are. You get to go to a lot of College World Series out here because that's all the buzz right now in Omaha.
Usually try to go to a game or two. Did not get the chance yet this year. Was on vacation last week, but they did have a drawing for tickets today. So maybe when I get back to my desk, I'll be one of the lucky ones.
You'll get the call. They'll go to the pen.
Even though it's supposed to be like 90+ degrees this weekend. So
I hear
but that's
it's a
true
hot one.
CWS weather.
Or raining, right?
Yeah.
Those are the two options.
We didn't actually have a true tornado warning this year. So, we got them all in April and May.
Yeah, you hit that like button one more time for us. Jennifer Christensen says, great Friday session.
Yes.
And Francine's
Jennifer.
looking forward to football season. Yeah, I might just boycott the NFL this fall because my Cowboys are just abysmal. I just don't like what's happening.
Playoff team. So
Yeah.
you're going to re-sign Dak. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's $60 million a year. Dak's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL. Can you imagine that? Dak Prescott with no
crazy.
championships. Oh gosh.
It's, most important position in sports. So you got to get paid accordingly.
Oh gosh.
Especially as a Dallas Cowboy.
I know we're over time here. You've been really gracious with your time. Do you want to leave people maybe just with a final thought here, Lonn?
Yeah, just want to say, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate all the support that all of our partners provide NEI Global, all of my individual service partner contacts, my team, continuing to do a great job learning, growing, and just creating that, great relocation experience that NEI provides and building on that. And hope to see everyone at GPA October 2nd and 3rd.
October 2nd and 3rd. The dates are set. Save the date here in Omaha. I'm excited for it. New venue.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I will see you all there in Omaha this fall in October. Yep. Can't wait. Hey, thanks, Lonn. Appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being